Blog Talk Radio. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Kathryn May's Blog Talk Radio program Channel Panel. Today is Wednesday, December 17th, 2014, and tonight's program is our Ascension Training and Support with Dr. Kathryn May and Sananda and a group of lightworkers building their 5D community. And tonight, I am so excited. We have two very special guests joining our call, our beloved Lucifer and Ashtar. So I am sure we're going to be hearing some great information. This is Meg Davis calling in from Georgia, your co-host, and our host, Kathryn, is calling in from her home in New York. Hi, Kathryn.
Hello, Meg.
Oh, hello.
It's really
I can feel it in the air.
Tonight, yeah. I forgot to flash in connection, and I meant to tell this. Oh, whoops. What's going on? This is kind of. I have off.
All callers are muted, and they can unmute themselves.
Okay. We have. Oh, this is not working. Oh, I'm going to have to turn it off. I can figure out how to. Sorry, folks. Give me a minute while I. Hang on a second while I get rid of this music.
Well, it's pleasant enough. We're good. There we go. I think we just lost Kathryn as she was trying to pull everybody in together on her amazing phone. We just dropped her, so I'm sure she'll be coming back any second. Yes, so we've got a fun call ahead. We've got two special people who are going to be talking about their experiences of bringing in more light into their lives. We've got Ellie, who's going to be talking about her very special interaction with her twin flame this week, which was really fun and extraordinary. And it's fun to have people who do those kinds of things. We get to walk the dogs in the morning and hear all about the fun news. So I feel very lucky. And our beloved Christine is going to be coming on and sharing a beautiful story about her and her mom, which just cracked me up. So I know she's going to have fun talking about it. And I think we've got Kathryn back.
I'm sorry about that. I thought I knew how to work that. I had the, I've been recording on the conference line, which I wanted to tell people about, so that if there's an overflow on our telephone line, there's another option for people who want to listen on their phone. I just hung it up. So do you have the phone number handy? It's not playing. Okay. So I'll send it out again. When I send out the emails, I'll put listing. Oh, here we go. The conference line is 518 530 Oh, she has 514. This is what she told me earlier. Well, let's check it. I'll check it, and I will put it on the email that I send out, the next one, so that people have another option. and it's a backup. In case anything happens with the Blog Talk shows, I have an extra recording. So we have, a backup measure in case there's any problem with the Blog Talk recordings. So I should mention that. People have been asking me, sometimes they have trouble getting to the archives. And I actually had a problem doing that too. And I found when I reinstalled or upgraded my Adobe Flash Player, it allowed the calls to come through again. So it's not a problem with Blog Talk. If you're having trouble getting to the archives, it has something to do with the speed of your internet connection or the ability for your computer to download it. So I had to just close down a few things and reboot the Adobe Player. And then I have no trouble getting the archives. So they're all there, going all the way back to the first calls. We're also going to be pulling out some and putting them on the website, so we have links to the calls. Our website is just growing beautifully. We've got a lot of help, and we're still posting things, so please be patient, folks. We're working on everything to polish and improve what we've been offering to all of you. I've been working on to create a volume, When God Pinched My Toe, the first 200 messages or so, and they're under the heading, When God Pinched My Toe, and have not yet been posted because I'm working on on editing it. There were some, just wanted to polish up a few typos and hanging sentences and so on. So that will be posted very soon. And also the new scriptures and Sananda's autobiography are all going to be put in book form, so people will be able to download them. So that's all in the works and very exciting. And it's been a real pleasure for me. I've been immersed doing this editing and going back to reread these channelings. I am constantly surprised at what I read. So I recommend it. It's to go back and read the ones that came before is such an interesting progression leading up to where we are now. So we have really good things coming up. And tonight, following on our wonderful discussion about Meg and Ellie's production, the flow chart to help people really understand and have a graphic for how to work through anything that comes up in your family, between you and yourself, between you and a partner, anyone who's willing to talk to you. You can use this flow chart and the list of the feeling words and the instructions that have been coming through. They're all going to be posted on the website. They have already been posted on our Facebook page, Who Needs Light, which is also our new Facebook page. So people seem to have made the transition pretty nicely to our new page, Who Needs Light. So I think not too many people got lost trying to find us in that process. So if you can't find something on the website for the next few days or weeks, it will be on the Facebook page. But know that we're working on it. We're getting everything up to date, and all the archives will be there. So it's a very easy and comfortable website to use. People are telling me that. So I'm glad that people are enjoying it. So we have a really fun thing to talk about tonight. First, I want to thank Daniel, who sent us a description of how he used the material in an incident that was very dramatic. But I saved extra time for tonight because we have so much going on. It's going to be a really fun show. But I'm going to ask, maybe I'll use Daniel's story that he wrote to us for next week. And instead we'll have, since we have them in person, Christine and Elle both have stories about how they use the material to get through something really important and wonderful. So I can't wait to hear this. Also,
yes, and they're both so fun and full of laughter and joy. So it's so great to be able to share with people. Yes, of course we have tears. Yes, we can clear things that are heavy, but sometimes they're just hilarious. And so we're going to talk about the upside of clearing tonight.
Oh, that's great. I had a little message earlier. I've been working with Sananda for several days, doing the editing of the new scriptures and adding a bit here and there. So he says he wants to make an announcement.
Well,
so we'll put his contribution in the announcement part of the show. And then to do the regular channelings later, we'll have Ashtar and Lucifer. But
oh, wonderful.
He told me just a couple of minutes ago he wants to make an announcement. So maybe we'll go there now, and then we'll come back and see and hear Ellie's and Christine's stories.
Oh, we're all ears, yes.
Okay, let's see what he wants to say.
Okay, I'll just give you a second. I'm sure he's right there by your shoulder.
Yep.
Welcome, Sananda.
Hello, Meg. Hello, everyone. Oh, it's a wonderful day to be sharing all of this with you. You can feel it, can't you? Can you feel the energy rising, the joyful atmosphere around you? We are blissful. I just wanted to say that Kathryn and Father God convinced me that it would be a good idea to put the new scriptures out there where lots of people can read them. I know that many people have enjoyed reading it, but I haven't said too much about it, and we haven't really promoted it in any way because I was a bit reluctant. You know, it is a story about me, and I was very reluctant to reopen the controversies and the discussion about all the things that are wrong with the Bible. But I was convinced that it's a really good idea to give this to people now so that they can make their own comparisons and read what I have said there, because it is loving and was intended to make a deep connection with people. And at this time, it's truly important that people understand I was not a suffering victim, and neither are they. None of us are suffering victims. And as we were editing today, Kathryn laughed when she reread a piece in my autobiography where I said that the worst thing about the misinterpretations of my life, or the way that this terrible image of the crucifixion, I can't even relate to it myself, of a body hanging on a cross, is gruesome and terribly unpleasant for anyone to look at. And what an awful way to introduce, this is your hero? No, it's terrible. And along with that, the terrible statement, Christ died for your sins. Well, I adamantly did not. I had no intention of dying for anyone's sins, yours or mine. That was not what I was here for. I didn't come here to die. I came here to teach about love and friendship and community family, pleasures. So I could not be happier to see all of those awful images be taken down, and how about burying them? That would be a good thing, because they don't belong to a joyful sense of community and love and pleasure that we're sharing with one another. So I am not trying to start another religion. Believe me, this is not why I'm here. And I didn't want to do that by writing the scriptures. I was afraid it would be used the way the Bible had been used, to turn it into dogma. But I see that people are using it to open their hearts and open their minds to see that so much of those dark teachings about guilt and sin and displeasure of all kinds had nothing to do with me or my teachings, and have nothing to do with God, not the God that we know. So my announcement is that we will put out the new scriptures in a convenient form where it can be downloaded. You can print it out yourselves, or we will also be creating an e-book and a volume that people will be able to buy as inexpensively as we can possibly have it printed, and so that people can hold the book in their hands. We are working on that now. So I hope you will enjoy it. And we joke, Kathryn joked with me the other day and asked me what I wanted for Christmas. And, of course, it's very funny to me because, first of all, I was not born in December. And the idea of me getting a Christmas present is hilarious. So I do enjoy celebrating family and having parties and joining with everyone to sing songs and maybe even go around your neighborhood singing songs in celebration. All of that is a wonderful tradition. But rest assured, it has nothing to do with my actual birthday. But enjoy it anyway. And think of me as you sing the wonderful songs in praise of our connection to Creator. So this is my pre-holiday contribution, and I just wanted to say hello to everyone and give you the announcement that we will be putting out the new scriptures. And I'm no longer reluctant about acknowledging that I think it will be helpful for people. So thank you, Meg and Christine and Ellie, for the contributions you're about to make. So I'm going to turn over the talking stick and listen with great pleasure. Gabriella has asked me to say something else. What is it, my dear?
Sananda, I was about to talk with Kathryn. I think we have problem with the audience. There's people who doesn't hear the call. So can we open a line if there's someone calling in to see if it's working, because I cannot check.
Oh, they're saying there's something wrong. Yeah. People are having...
okay, I can... Let me just open up Christine's line and make sure she can hear us. So, Christine, I'm going to open up your line. Can you hear us, my friend?
Hey, yes, I can. I heard that amazing and exciting announcement from Sananda, and I've heard the whole call.
Okay, wonderful. All right,
well, it may be the people who are listening online who are having a problem on Blog Radio.
Yeah.
All right. Can someone who is on the line with us, Christine, do you have your computer there with you?
No, I'm in the car.
Okay.
I pulled over.
if someone could check for us by going on to Blog Talk Radio and see if you can hear the show, that would be very helpful. And after you do that, you can open your line or tell us you're there by pressing 1, and we'll see your hand raised. So apparently those who are on their phone can hear this. I think I'll open the chat room, too, and let's see if someone... Oh, here we go. Here's someone calling in, 541. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. There's no sound on Blog Talk.
Uh-oh. All right. Then if people will give me a moment, I'm going to log in to my friend who covers Blog Talk Radio, and I'll see what the problem is. So I think we should hesitate here for a few minutes.
Jessica, so it just kicked in.
Oh, it just came on?
Yes.
All right, let me start my chat anyway, and I'll have Cynthia, who's a big help. All right, talk amongst yourselves while I check in with...
I just had word from Jessica, who was having trouble getting on, and now she says, finally, it just kicked in for me. I can hear. So that's a good sign. So hopefully that'll go throughout everybody else's experience.
All right, I think it should be okay.
Yeah, it's fine now. All right.
All right, so we've heard from several people?
We've heard from Philippines, Montreal, and Florida, and it's all good.
All right,
Okay.
Philippines, Florida, and Montreal are all hearing the show. Okay, I'll tell Cynthia it looks like it's okay. All right, if anyone is having a problem, please contact... Well, of course, they can't hear me if they're having a problem. So I guess there's no point in that announcement. All right, we'll assume, since we've heard from 3 or 4 people, that it's okay, that we can continue. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to you, Meg, so you can introduce our friends Christine and Allie in whatever order they have decided they'd like to contribute their stories. Can't wait to hear them.
Oh, they're just wonderful. Thank you, Kathryn. Okay, hello, everybody. It's Meg. And in case we have some new listeners, I'll just give a brief introduction. I am living with 4 other remarkable people, Ellie, Jovine, Jade, and Faith. Ellie is a mom, and we have 3 children, ages ranging from 16 to 20. And we live in Georgia. And we have come together with a group intention of creating the closest we can get to a community as if we were living in the 5th dimension. And what that feels like to raise the light quotient for ourselves and the family and come together and see how we do that and just practice as we're getting more and more light coming into us from Prime Creator and from the galactics. And in the meantime, as we are working on our light and our pillars and holding more light, we also have some things coming up to clear that were set up usually from our childhood, and we're working together in love and community to allow these to come up. And we've developed a program all together. This is definitely a group work to be able to do a step-by-step program on when something comes up for us and we start having a feeling that's uncomfortable, that we can address it right away in love and in support and help each other move through these feelings, find any type of triggering event in our past that needs some love and attention, and offering the Ho'oponopono prayer after we find where this is, and then bring this forward throughout our life to see if there are any other events where we have a similar type of feeling. And this is called clearing. That's what we use to identify when we have corrected a situation in our past that's preventing us from being fully present, fully in love with ourselves and each other 100% of the time. And that's our goal. Fully present, fully aware, enjoying bliss all the time. And if we have anything that comes up that is different than that, then we talk it through. And we've put this step-by-step process on our Facebook page as a support and training for everybody to be able to apply these techniques to their family, with their spouses, with themselves, with coworkers. And it is really juicy this time of year as we're all gathering, and could be very helpful for people when we're coming together with our birth families. And who knows what kind of things come up to clear with those wonderful relationships. So we have two people here who've had a really fun use of this type of program, and I thought we'd let them share their own experiences and give you some case studies on how you can apply this in your own life. And we also encourage people who are using this to call in. Let us know what works for you, like Daniel did, and any places where you might be stuck. And we can make this a real living document and help people with any situations that come up in their life. And we love to hear feedback. So I'm going to pass the phone over to Ellie first, and she's going to share a really fun story, and then we'll bring Christine on after that. So here is Ellie.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Kathryn. Well, I would just like to share.
Hi, Ellie. It's Kathryn. I'm going to put myself on mute while I'm listening to you guys. So take it away.
All right, great. Well, after last Wednesday night's show program, you know, Sananda and Michael, Archangel Michael, had encouraged us to connect with our twin flames and to give them love. And then we also had the wonderful Rainbow Bridge channel message from Kathryn and Gabriella. And so I made a point of including my connection with my twin flame when I did my visual centering meditation. So I purposely made sure, okay, I'm calling you in. And as soon as I did that, I immediately felt an energy surge. And it was wonderful. I just immediately felt his presence come in. And what it made me realize is that, you know, it was by mindfully setting my intention to connect, I felt the connection amplified and be cemented even more. So every time I call on his name or you know, call twin flame come in, or, oh, I'm having an issue right now, twin help me. Sometimes I say that. Mm-hmm. It just brings the extra surge. And even now as I'm talking about it, I'm feeling a lot of warmth, and he's got my back. So last Sunday morning, after I did my intentional visual centering meditation, I started thinking about the holidays coming up and our upcoming family trip. And the feeling that I had, I was really at ease with everything, and then it seemed to take a turn towards doubt. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling some doubt coming in here and some fear, and then some worst-case scenarios started playing in my head, and I'm like, no, these are dark thought forms. What's going on? What is this? So I know those feelings, for me, they're not my normal anymore. They don't belong here. So I immediately recognized them and said, okay, this is something from before, some program from before, and we need to rectify it. So I called in my twin, and he was able to help me to really clearly see through what this feeling was. So usually when I'm planning a trip, when I'm in the planning stages of a trip, I would feel nervous about everything and like, oh, my gosh, I wanted to work out. Well, that wasn't the situation this time because the trip was already planned. So it's like, why are these thoughts coming up and these worst-case scenarios? And so no sooner I asked for help, the feelings I was experiencing was actually excitement because everything is in motion. And I was feeling the buildup of the plans being finalized. And it wasn't about my family trip coming, but it was actually bigger, the RV. But, okay. The RV completion, it's no delays, no holdup. So it was the excitement I was feeling. And it was just my gut confirming that it's done. So he was like, this is what it's like in 5D. You are literally getting the intuition, the feeling, and it's excitement. And the old programming would make you think that it was the opposite, anxiety or worst-case scenarios. So that whole programming, we're rewiring it now so that we're seeing it in its true form. And I was immediately relieved, and it was like, yes, I feel this, I know this, and I felt it in my being. So I knew that it was true, So I'm really excited. I'm very thankful for his help. And it took me back to chapter 6, I think it is, where in Who Needs Light. I would encourage you, if you haven't read that section about the rewiring of your brain patterns or the encoding you received as a child, it's excellent to go over and just really see, because it really brings out, especially as we're doing these clearings more and more, you start to see the program, and it just gets easier and easier and easier. You catch them quick, and it's like, you know what, that doesn't feel right. That's not in my space of now, so let's get it out of here. So it was just really helpful. So that's my story. So I'm going to turn this back over to Meg.
Hi. Can you hear me? Yes, I think you can. It's Kathryn.
Yes.
Hi. Oh, that was great. Thank you. I would like to add just a little something to this to just elaborate on what Ellie was telling us. This is such an important example and so clear, because what she's describing is the adrenaline response, the fight or flight response, that our body really doesn't know the difference. Whether you're really excited about something or whether you have to run, or fight. So when your body experiences an adrenaline rush, it's easy for us to flip back into that old reaction to an adrenaline rush, which is, this must be bad. So now I'll interpret all the bad things I can think of that come up when I feel an adrenaline rush. But in fact, our new adrenaline rushes are going to be about joy and excitement. So it's not, as Ellie said, it's fine-tuning. And it's not so hard to do if you know that about it, that an adrenaline rush doesn't necessarily mean fear. Imagine, we're going to feel that excited all the time for good reasons. So instead of wearing ourselves out, it's going to make us healthier and stronger. So thank you, Ellie. That was really an important item for people to realize. That's a really good part of the whole structure of working through and part of the flow chart, to see that now what you're doing is rewiring from the old conditioning, which flipped you into a fight or flight response, to this new conditioning. That's not really conditioning now, it's repatterning, that takes you to a higher place in your brain. Literally, it's a different channel in your brain, and you'll feel it. It's a higher vibration. It, of course, brings joy with it, but it's literally a different neurological channel in your brain. So, yeah, that's what Chapter 6 is about. So thank you, Elle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll turn it back to you, Meg.
Oh, thank you, Kathryn. That's the part that I really was excited about, too, when we were walking and talking about this, is I was physically able to hear the example of new neural pathways being implemented in the brain. And this is what love does. Love builds new neural pathways in our brain that allows for more love, and more neurons connect, more love connections, and until our brain is completely hardwired for love, which is 5D. So to see Ellie walk through that was brilliant. I was almost as happy as she was. But she had some twin flame juice going, so that was fun. But, okay, wonderful. Well, we have another friend of mine, Christine, who you all know, who is going to share with us her a wonderful tale of working with the chart with her family, her birth family. Hi, Christine. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Meg. Eleonora, thank you for that great story. Oh, it's so good to be here. I love you all. I'm really thrilled. I'm having one of those adrenaline rushes right now because I'm just so so excited to be here. So excited about what we're all doing together. I use Meg and Eleonora's flow chart every single day in my life, and when I get stuck, I call them regularly, which we can all do for each other, any of us. The flow chart is so usable and so easy to walk us through our clearing. So I've had some huge stuff come up in clearing around family as well, and I wanted to share it, especially because I want to show the choice point of when we choose the light and how easy it's become. It's actually become fun and like a treasure hunt for me to find the places where I'm crunchy or tight. And in my old days, I used to go into shutdown or shame or one of my countless strategies. And now I get excited because I identify it so quickly as something to give to the light. So this is my little story of how I've been seeing how different that is. So Sananda said to us a couple weeks ago on this show and in messages, it basically, if we are incarnated on Earth, we are programmed. So that means we're full of these dark thought forms, or we're in the process of clearing them. And for me, that is such awesome news, because it right then and there took all the rest of any little hidden bit of resistance or shame out from me. Of course, we're here, we're programmed, and right now it's all about just clearing that, just giving it back to the light. So no sooner was I celebrating that than a strange little series of events from my birth family started to happen. Now, they announced to me that I was not invited to join them for Christmas this year. And I was like, there'd been no noticeable event or upset that I could point to. And so I was a little, and I just immediately centered, started to breathe, and I just thought, okay, this is interesting. This is an opportunity. I noticed right at that moment as I centered, my heart began to fill with love, and I began looking in myself for anything that would come up. But strangely, nothing did. I wasn't upset. I didn't feel left out. I felt love for my family, and I felt calm. Well, it continued to amplify. Then the brother that had initiated that I wouldn't be coming, he's an adult brother, he called me to get a very expensive gift arranged for my mom. So I was like, well, that's an interesting choice. Like, now you're calling me to arrange gifts for other family members to the Christmas I'm not invited to. Okay. And still, I was centering. I was doing the Ho'oponopono prayer. I was going down my flow chart. I was being mindful of my feelings. And yet, again, nothing. Well, these little incidents kept popping up. And pretty soon, I had a day where I didn't associate it with this going on, but I started to feel down. And I started to feel funky. So even though I was going through the flow chart, I couldn't quite identify it myself. So I called Meg up and said, can we walk through some clearing? And we were going through the steps, and she suddenly, kind of out of context, blurted out, sorry, Meg, I didn't quite clear this.
Oh, no, honey. Go for it.
She sort of kind of blurted out, like, the strangest thing. She said, hi, my name's Christine, and I don't feel jealousy. And it didn't really fit in the conversation. But I know we were doing my clearing, so I just trusted that it came up for a reason. Well, I got off the clearing with her and went to lunch with my mom. And I was visually centering. I was centering deep in my heart, connecting between the center of my heart, the center of my brain. I was sitting across from my mom, and I was inside over and over, just so genuinely saying, I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. When you visual centering, when you hit the sweet spot, things just can fall into place and they become crystal clear. And that happened. But what I saw shocked me a lot. I felt my mom had some jealousy towards me. And as soon as I considered that, I saw I had another choice point. I could resist it. I could feel hurt by it. But all my thoughts and feelings, I wanted to be in alignment with my ascension. So I just stayed in the center of my being, me and my mom, from that place. And when I did, I saw suddenly all these places in my life where that had been true. And what I saw in myself was that at each of those points, rather than let in that maybe my mom had some of those feelings towards me, or that I had felt those feelings, whatever was going on with my mom, I had just blocked out the feeling of jealousy altogether. I had just shut it out. And I don't feel jealousy towards others, but I also went to a place so far where it's like I erased jealousy from life. I didn't see it or acknowledge it or recognize it in others either. So I just took that in. I just let it be. Continued to do the prayer. Well, I just allowed it to be. And meanwhile, I've been merging with my twin flame too, right? Sananda and the Company of the Heaven told us it's time, and I've been merging with my twin flame. And I told my twin flame, I don't know what to do with this, all this. I don't know how to clear it. And he said, just give it all to me. And so I asked him, can we all do that? Can we all just give it to our twin flames? And he says yes, very much so. And then he said, just receive our love. Just receive the light. But just keep giving it all to me. So I did. I just kept, and then the flow started. And the more I gave, the more I could give. And it just kept going. Well, then a series of miracles started to happen. And just spontaneously, my mom started saying things I never imagined her saying. And they were so different and close and kind. And I had considered moving before and tried to let her know that. And it had basically been, if I did, it would be a break in our relationship. But instead, she spontaneously brought it up and just offered me total support and freedom, just spontaneously out of the blue, it seemed. Then also, I was invited and gifted to come to my spiritual family's Christmas party and to go on the trip with that. I told my mom. She said it was the best news she could possibly hear, and she was so excited for me and started making arrangements for getting me to the airport, and it's just continued like that. And I feel like it's been raining miracles ever since. So the biggest point I want to get across with this is we have the point of choice, and we can either feel shut down or be triggered and go into it, but that is the very moment. If we can just give that moment to the light, everything can shift before our eyes. And Meg, like you said earlier, it makes it so clearing doesn't have to be hard or traumatic. Sometimes stuff comes up and it just needs to wash out, sure. But I'm just finding it's really also can be fun, joyful, and miraculous. So thank you for letting me share today.
Oh, Christine, this is just magical. Thank you so much. Such transparency is how we will do this together. When we have the bravery to talk about what we're doing together, this is how we'll grow. Christine, thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too, honey.
Christine.
I'll keep you on while Kathryn says something. Go ahead.
Well, I want everyone here to know you have just heard from a master. You have just heard the thinking process of how a master manages their thoughts and their feelings and their actions. It was an absolutely magnificent example. When Christine was literally stabbed in the heart by her family repeatedly, she stepped back from it and centered herself and said, I wonder what I should do about this. It was just brilliant. It was exactly what all of us need to do. When something upsetting happens, you step back and you say, I wonder what the best way is to handle this while I enjoy breathing and feeling love and walking through this storm that's taking place around me. And she walked right out the other side, and everyone was left with their mouths hanging open. Wow. She's really unshakable. And this is why you're seeing these miracles, because they can't help but be absolutely awestruck, especially the brother who thought he was going to, throw you off completely, get you to have a tantrum or invite you into an argument or, show how he could upset you. It must have absolutely stunned your family to see this complete equilibrium. And then not only did she not say, how dare you reject me, or I'm crushed by your, thoughtlessness, she said, hey, guys, I'm going to a party. Who wants to drive me to the airport? It was absolutely brilliant. What family could behave badly in response to what she did? She left them no other option but to be as gracious as she was.
Mm-hmm.
This is a triumph of heart over confusion. It was just, thank you so much, Christina. It was just an absolutely beautiful example. And I know that people who are listening are going to think about this over and over again, because you have just proven the theory that if you approach a situation with love, miracles happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not what we thought it would be, right? It's not that there's some intervention from above that forces somebody's hand. It's that your presence in the center of this, clearly this family intrigue that must have been going on for generations at least. Mm-hmm. And everyone was grooved into their role about how they were going to annoy Christine and, give Mom a charge, or however it works in the family. It left them no open path. There was nothing they could do. So they had to just watch you in wonder and go, oh, what just happened? So you put them in a position where they had to think about their own behavior. It's a brilliant move, and you called it the choice point, and you're exactly right. When you choose to respond graciously to someone who's behaving badly, it's the key. It's the choice point where they don't get to blame you. They don't get to become embroiled in a fight with you. So they have to look at themselves. It's a very simple principle, but not one that we're ever taught. Mm. When you refused to put up your dukes, they had to rethink what they were doing. So it's, it's what Gandhi tried to teach. It's what Martin Luther King did so brilliantly. And now we have seen. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I hope everyone can embrace it with fun and like using it like a treasure hunt to see these clues when they come in, and rather than turn the emotions on ourselves, if we can start to have more fun with it, that is light too. And just to be more gentle on ourselves and on those around us, and let's start by laughing through the holidays. Thank you, Kathryn. Thank you, Meg.
Yes.
I love you all.
Love you too, Christine. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. All right, bye, honey.
Oh, this is so wonderful. Every week there's some new brilliant, thing that pops up that we didn't even know we were going to hear. So thank you all.
Yes.
And that, the program that you have developed for all of us is just so useful and brilliant. Someone asked me, how do I print this out? Do you have a hint to people about how they can print out the flow chart and the feelings list and your case study and so on? I know it's posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, you right on it. You go to the Facebook page where it's posted.
I think it's options.
It's under options. When you click on the picture and you right-click it, and then it will say save as or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for people who want to print it out for themselves to have. Does that sound right, Ellie? She's our IT person.
Yes, that's correct. That is how you do it. You right-click on the picture when you pull it up, and once you do that, it will give you the option of you can save as. It will save as a picture, or you save as first, and then you can print it out. And also, what I could do is put a link for a PDF file of it. That might be easier to print out. So,
great.
I could do this. Yeah, and it's also on your emails too. So that's another way of printing it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to someone who was having trouble printing it. So I think that was it's the right click.
I will post some PDF links on the page so that it can be printed out.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, great. Because people are going to want to use this the way Christine is describing and the way you described it too, to have it with you and carry it around so you can refer to it all the time. Why not? It's there. It's available for everyone. And we want people to use it. So thank you.
Yes.
All right. Boy, we've covered a lot of ground already. But we have a special treat. Have I left anything out, Meg?
I think it's covered perfectly, Kathryn.
Okay. So we're going to hear from Ashtar and Lucifer. I haven't yet heard who's coming first. Oh, Lucifer. Okay, Lucifer's going to come first. I haven't checked with him about what he wants to talk about, but they're all just so exuberant tonight and just full of joy and excitement. So this will be fun. All right, I'll give it back to you for a moment, Meg, while I align with Lucifer.
Wonderful. All right, just a couple of nice breaths, and Kathryn does her centering very fast, and our friend Lucifer is on the other shoulder, I'm sure. Welcome, Lucifer. We're so glad to have you tonight.
Hello, sweetheart. It's so good to hear from you, Meg. What a show you're doing tonight. Oh. We've told you that our twin flames are here among all of you, and they are the brilliant women who are demonstrating to the world. Of course, they're not all here, but all of you are just representing the company of heaven so brilliantly by showing people how it's done. We are just in awe. We know how hard it is there. We've been there. And we know how hard it is to show this kind of grace and resolve and dignity in the face of a barrage of feelings and dark thought forms and worries and concerns about how to get through the next day and what to do about your life and how to fix your relationships and so on. We know how hard it is. And to see you moving through these things with such intelligence and grace and generosity to share these things with other people, well, it's just a delight for us to watch. It's like watching your family decorate the Christmas tree. The way you bring out each beautiful gem and share it with everyone. And then you place it up there in full view. It is a wondrous thing to see and so helpful to others. So many can enjoy this with you. So we congratulate you and celebrate with you and thank you for this wonderful work that you're doing.
You're so welcome, Lucifer. Thank you.
Yes. You know, I like talking about twin flames, and you're all catching on. I'll bet the people who are listening are too. It is the time, and what a wonderful time of year, to be thinking about who you love. For the one who is your twin flame, and I'm referring to all of you, the one who is your twin flame has been the love of your life since you were born. Born as a soul, that is, of course. All of you, every single one of you has a twin flame because this is how souls are created. We've talked about that, and then Kathryn will get an email from someone saying, well, I don't have a twin flame. Not me. I don't feel it. Well, it's impossible. There is no one who does not have, well, what we've called as a twin flame. You could call it a twin soul. That's really probably better. As our friend Ganesh says, well, isn't it amusing that they call it twin flames? We're not burning up. We are twin souls with the one who was the other part, the other half of our soul at the moment of our creation. And this is the time of in our development where we're coming back together to be with our twin soul. And it does take this kind of work, you know, this clearing that you're doing now, because those of you who are here on the ground have experienced such bumps in the road, let's say, and difficult treatment from those around you, that it has set you up to expect your twin flame to be as big a pain in the neck as your mother was, or as difficult a character as your older brother might be, and so on. So in order to have the glorious, easy relationship with your twin flame that you'll want to have, it really is necessary to clear away these old feelings, especially the ones that made you feel mistrust or impatience or frustration, the feelings that make you feel separate and in opposition to others. If you go into a twin flame relationship with that feeling of being of defending yourself, you will have a terrible time, because twin souls are so intensely similar and mirror each other so intensely that it will be a terrible experience to put up your dukes and find that here is your equal. And whatever difficulties you bring into the relationship will be multiplied enormously. So you're not wanting to do that, I'm sure. So take part, all of you, in these wonderful exercises that you see are being so joyfully presented. There is no shame. There is no guilt in seeing that you've been programmed. Of course you've been programmed. How could it be otherwise? It's not possible to live a life on earth and not have been brainwashed. It just is part of the territory. It's what we understand before we come there. And so when you start, as your dear friends here have, with the assumption that you're dealing with programming, and when you hear yourself or feel yourself doing something you don't agree with, well, it's just part of the programming. And be done with it. Look at it, turn it around, put a microscope on it, stand back and examine it, as Christine and Ellie have both described. Step back and just look at it and go, I wonder what that is and where did it come from? Like you would if you encountered a strange insect on the sidewalk. Oh, well, I wonder if it bites. It's like that. The shadows that you carry from childhood, mostly from childhood. Oh, I'm going to add something here. You know, those of you who've studied your spiritual teachings are very tempted to say, well, it's probably from a former life. I'll deal with what happened in a former life. Well, dear friends, if it happened in a former life, it's probably happening in this life too, if it was important. And if it is an issue you need to resolve, it's happening right here in front of you. So you don't have to go to a former life to figure out what the problem is. It's right there in front of you. So address it, walk around it, poke it, prod it, smile at it. Say, yes, I recognize you. Dark thought form. You've been around for a long time. I recognize the unpleasant feelings, the fear, the doubt, the shame that you have brought into my life. Now, let's see if we can make friends and figure out what the problem is here, so we don't have to carry this on any longer. And then, as you wrap it up, and after you've examined it, of course, and put it on location as your flow chart instructs you to do, see who was there, what it was about, what it meant, what the feelings are that go with it, and then you put it up on the shelf and do what the taxidermist does. Create a little image of it and then stuff it and then put it in the museum. And anytime, if you should ever want to go back and visit, although I doubt if you will, you can put it in the museum behind one of those glass cases. So you know it has no life. It has no more meaning. It doesn't affect you. It might get a little dusty, and that's fine, because that's appropriate. It's an artifact, nothing more. An old tool that you used long ago to try to feel better about yourself, it's rusty. It no longer works. So put it there with the other artifacts. And you can say goodbye to it and thank you. Thanks for helping me to feel better about myself, even though I maybe did some annoying things because of it, but that's okay. It was just a way I needed to feel safe, or it was just a way I needed to feel important. You put the name on it that you need. Put the labels on it. You know how children do. They love those sticky labels. They like to stick labels on everything. Well, find the labels that fit and stick them all over your creation, your dark thought form. So you have the description of it and the use that it served, like they do in the museums. And then put it there in its glass case and let it be. And as Christine said, you can walk away with joy and wonder at this triumph over something that was, well, once you put it in the case, it doesn't look so terrifying anymore, does it? Because it's dead. It has no life. It has no meaning. It has no use anymore. So you walk away and say, oh, well, I learned from that. And here I am, older and wiser, and I don't need it anymore. It's brilliant, isn't it? You really can recover. You really can leave behind all that stuff from childhood, from your painful teenage years. Yes, most have painful teenage years, don't they? In these cultures that you were raised in, it's almost impossible for a child to survive childhood and teenage years without becoming grumpy, hostile, in a rage, sullen, discontent, and alienated. Is there anyone here who has not felt those things? And if you're saying, no, I never felt any of that, well, you need to check your honesty meter. For we've all been there. We all know what that is. There is no shame in it. It's just part of the programming. So if you ever find yourself now feeling rebellious, sullen, oppositional, or any of those things that you felt as a child, just nod your head and say, hello, programming. I see who you are. And be done with it. Without fanfare, without drama, without shame. This is the most important part. Without shame. Now, if you find yourself feeling defensive, oh, I never do that. I know I never do that. I never raise my voice. Or, I never pout. What do you mean? I've never pouted in my life. Well, if you find yourself feeling defensive, between you and yourself is usually when it happens, then look at what you're saying to yourself. No, I didn't do that, or it was warranted, or I had to do that, or it's all right because. Then you know immediately. It's just one of those pieces of programming. And don't forget to laugh when you discover it, because it really is funny, how we pick up these habits that we say, oh, my parents did that, and I would never do that. And then that's, of course, the first thing you find yourself doing. You hear the words come out of your mouth and you're humiliated. Even if you don't tell anybody, you know, oh my God, that sounded just like my mother. Oh, how could I have done that? Well, easy. What do you mean, how could you have done it? It's easy. Anyone can mimic their parents. We all do. So eliminate the shame and instead learn some good jokes. Create some good jokes about it. That will make it very easy for you to leave them all behind. I'm picturing, for the women, you'll all recognize this. Do you have any costume jewelry in your drawer? You know, the thing you thought was such a pretty bauble once, but you wore it twice and it broke, and it's still there in the drawer, and you're thinking, well, one day I'll fix it or have it repaired, or someone gave this to me, so I really shouldn't throw it out. Well, for heaven's sakes, give it to a child to wear. They love that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. The earring that no longer has a mate, or the baubles and the trinkets that you once thought were so attractive. Well, they're not anymore. It's like that. These habits and protections that we put in place, they're not so attractive anymore. You can get rid of them. I like the image of putting it in the museum. That's the best part, because then you honor it. You can say, oh, it served me once. There was nothing wrong with adapting it and using it, and it was a tool, but it's a tool that now belongs in the Stone Age, because we're heading for higher dimensions, and we don't need any stone tools. They'd be too heavy to take with us. Well, these thought forms are like that. They're too heavy. They weigh you down. You don't need them anymore. You're going to fly. You're going to take flight, experience the rising up of your energies in such a glorious way that you're going to be in awe of yourself, of your friends and family who are joining you. You're just going to be in a state of wonder and excitement and exhilaration, and no room for anything else. I love it that Meg introduced this in such a clear way. She declared that she and her family are determined to be 100%. That is not impossible. You're seeing it happen right before your eyes. They are accomplishing this. And everyone in the family has signed on to this. We are going to be 100% in command of our thoughts and our feelings and our actions, and we are going to live in love every moment, all day long. Whether we're together or apart, this is what we will experience every moment of the day. This is brilliant, courageous, so courageous. And look how it's working. Can all of you make the same promise? Can you promise to yourself that you will live in joy and love and happiness all day long, every day? Can you vow that to yourself and to those around you, the ones you love? Can you promise each other that? Think how glorious life will be. It is a vow that will take you to the stars. What could be better? Mucking around with some old thought forms? Some old habits that are antiquated? No. You're ready. You're all more ready than you think. Join us. Take your vows to live in love and in peace and joy with one another. And what a holiday season this will be for you and for those who love you. I congratulate you all and embrace every one of you who has the curiosity and the courage to listen to these calls, to join us in this amazing experiment. And we want to hear from you. We love your stories. Let's make sure someone comes on every week to tell us about their progress. We welcome that. We know there are many of you who are using this program now. Please come forward and tell us about your successes. And you will encourage each other to make this commitment to yourself and to those who love you. I will live in peace. I will be 100% in love. And you see, it will be done. In fact, at the moment you make that vow, that commitment, it is done. And now I send you my endless love, and from my point of view, it is done. Namaste, all.
Oh, namaste. Lucifer, we're cracking up over here. It was in rare form. Lucifer, thank you. I promised this was going to be a happy, joyful clearing call, and you just zoomed it to the stars, and I am forever stuck with an image of a stuffed thought form with a sticky note on its head in a museum. and the image of checking ourselves before we wreck ourselves, as Lucifer told us to do. So now we can just, with a laugh on our face, say to each member of our family, you better check yourself with that dark thought form. Anything to make it fun, and so we don't just think it's personal. It's so not personal. We have a joke here where anytime it comes up, I pretend to put a finger to my head and pop out the cassette deck and bring it out, and it makes it not mag. It makes it something that's a piece of plastic and very, very handleable. So anything you do, everybody's going to have their own fun thing they can do. But Lucifer, thank you so much. Let's make it fun, and Christine said the same thing. Let's make it fun, let's make it joyful, and let's look at it and dig around, but take our sense of humor with us. And, gosh, it makes it so much easier and lighter. Thank you, Lucifer. It was brilliant.
This is Kathryn. I am just, that's hilarious. A stuffed platform.
With a sticky note on its head.
I pictured dead. When he's dead, all kind of ratty and dusty.
To be visited in 10 generations from now going, oh, yeah, honey, have you heard? They used to have these things in the past. They were called dark thought forms. Exactly. I know. Can you imagine? They had things like jealousy and rage and hate. Mommy, what's that? Oh, honey, I know. It's just unimaginable.
Oh, thanks for that. Oh, that was great. Oh, thanks, Lucifer.
Thank you, Lucifer.
You know, the Natural History Museum in New York used to have, I think they're kind of changing their exhibits a bit, but all these glass cases with dioramas of people doing things, and they always look kind of dead and dusty. Like stuffed animals that have been overused and dragged around. So that's a very useful picture for us. Thank you, Lucifer. That was brilliant. Well, we still have to hear from Ashtar. What a treat it is. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, I need a little drink of water. So let me get a drink of water, and then we'll have Ashtar come back. If anyone wants to comment on what
I was going to say, we have one caller. Should we open the line and see what they have to say?
Oh, is this this was the person who called in earlier, I think.
That said that the line was working. Oh, you're right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Now, I just lost my panel. But I guess it's okay since we're all here. But
they just took their hand down because they heard us. Okay, thank you so much for doing that. Okay.
Yeah, called to help earlier.
Good.
Yeah, if we do have someone who wants to call in and maybe schedule a time for next week to tell us about what's going on and how they're using this, we'd love to do that because we're going to. Sounds like Lucifer has given us the assignment to feature someone's story every week, which sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Would you like me to give out my email address for people to send in their stories and we can make a date? Or is that good?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, so anybody who has a story of using the flowchart in any of its capacity, it's sometimes people are saying, I skipped step 4. It's quite all right. Make it your own. So any using of it. And my email address is B as in boy, T as in Tom, W as in water, Davis, BTWDavis @gmail.com. So give me your feedback, or if you got stuck, we can work through together. But if you have a story where you used it and it led to peace and joy and laughter on the other side, we would love to hear it. Thank you.
So I think of your email as, by the way, Davis.
Oh, that's funny. That'll work, though. That'll work.
So BTW Davis.
Yes.
And Meg will, review the stories and pass them on to me, and we'll get to as many of you as possible. These are so personal and sometimes are fairly detailed stories, so we want to be able to present it effectively. So we'd like to hear about it ahead of time so we really understand what it was about. So that's a great idea. Okay, now we're going to hear from Ashtar. So I'll turn it back to you for a moment while I line up and catch Ashtar's vibe.
And for anybody who doesn't, I know we don't do titles much, but for anybody who has not heard of our beloved Ashtar, I would say that Ashtar is one of our top wonderful light workers with the galactic fleets that we see blinking all in our night skies. So you can always look up and say, "Hi, Brother Ashtar." And if you have a message to a particular ship, I just tell them to get it to him. So, Ashtar, can you please take my love to that ship I'm looking at right now? And he takes care of it for me. So, hi, Ashtar. Welcome.
Hello, Meg. Yes, it's I. I love it when you call me Brother Ashtar. I feel so good.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here.
What a fun program. Well, it's going to be hard to top Lucifer. And of course, we don't feel the feelings of competition that you feel there on Earth. We feel something different. It's so joyful when your friend does something brilliant that you want to try to match it, so that you can create as much light and brilliance as they did, and then you double it or quadruple it. So we always have this feeling, oh, my friend just did something brilliant, I want to do it too, or I want to do it even more. He inspires that in people. That's why he's called Lucifer, meaning light. Well, people who are not used to hearing about Lucifer being Mr. Light, the brainwashing was all about, he's, the S word, I don't want to say it. People thought he was the bad guy. Well, of course he's not. He's been doing our light work always. There was no fall from grace, not for him, not for any of us. We threw ourselves off the cliff, didn't we? Voluntarily. So anyone who's here on planet Earth is here because they meant to be. It's not a mistake. It wasn't an accident that you all ended up in lower dimensions, and it certainly wasn't punishment. It was an experiment, a daring one, and one that I think many of you are feeling is thankfully coming to an end. Well, this is what we see from where we are. I'm bilocating right now. Might be interesting for you to know about this. I am right here with Kathryn, on her right shoulder, as you said, and at the same time I'm also on the bridge of my ship. So it's really a projection of our thoughts so that we can be in more than one place at a time. We do that so that we can be with so many of you when you need us, when you want to talk with us. It's not exactly an unlimited ability. So when we're having meetings together in the higher dimensions and we're discussing something of great importance, we do tend to withdraw some of our thoughts so that we're concentrated in one place. So we have the option of what do you call it? Multitasking. We can multitask very nicely, or we can focus so that we are really concentrated and present on one project. Let me tell you what we've been doing recently. I'm not going to go into great detail, but I'll give you an idea. We've been talking about landings since the 50s. It's a while now, even for us. We're not keeping track of days or hours, of course, but you're all aware that we've been here for quite a time. And we have, every day, in all that time, anticipated that we will come. We will land with our spaceships. We will be among you. Now, some of higher dimensions will not present themselves in as solid and dense form as you're used to. You may find us a bit ethereal, but you will see us nevertheless. Those of you who are open and ready will be seeing exactly who we are. You'll see our form that we present ourselves in. Now, this is part of our planning, many prefer to be able to come to see you in their galactic form. But of course, for you, it will seem like an episode from Star Trek. But you know, Star Trek was a brilliant production for its time. It was part of the preparation to get you ready for this time when all of us are going to be landing. Now, here's the irony, isn't it? That many of you who are in human bodies will have twin flames who are in a galactic body. So what do you do when you're there in a human body and you meet your twin who is 15 feet tall, has slightly blue skin, it has very long arms and legs and perhaps a different shaped face and head than you have? Well, why not? We are all souls in a form. We think of it as the skin you put on, the outfit you happen to be wearing that day. So we present ourselves in a uniform that's a nice color. Mine's blue. I present myself with blue eyes and blonde hair. And everyone thinks, oh, look, isn't Ashtar handsome? A human form. Well, of course, that's so that you will feel more accepting toward me. I'm actually not that sort of form. From my origins and in my everyday life, I prefer to be in my light body without having to present any particular structure or body. I prefer not to have my 15-foot form in the spaceship. It's more convenient to be in my light presence. That way I don't get in anyone's way. So you see, once you've raised your vibration and you've gotten used to being as light as a feather, you might say, it's very convenient. It's great fun. And we recognize one another. We know each other by our energy. We don't have to have the same hairdo all the time. Everyone will recognize us because of our patterns, our energy patterns. We create light and colors, and everyone has their own signature. So we don't need a particular style of clothing to express who we are. It's very funny to us that people think, if you wear a certain style, it's your identity. Like men who all put on a suit, all the same color, all buttoned the same way in a tie that fits just so. It's very funny to us to think that they identify each other by that uniform. But of course, it is the way that humans have learned. If you wear a certain uniform, people will recognize you as such. Well, yes, I am the commander of the Galactic Fleet, and if you insist, I'll wear my very handsome uniform when I come to meet you. Perhaps I will do that. But that's not what's really on our minds these days. Oh, I have to tell a joke on my friend Sananda. You're going to love this. I'm asking his permission. He won't mind if I tell a little story on him. When we were talking about how we will present ourselves to our friends on Terra, we said, well, Sananda, it's very important how you present yourself because people expect you to look like Jesus. They're not going to accept you if you're 18 feet tall and you have 3 digits on your hands, which, of course, is the way Kamarans look. So he said, no, I don't think that would probably work very well. And one of our friends on the ground said, well, he thought maybe that Sananda should present himself as the surfer dude, Jesus, the one with blonde hair and, a tan. So we joke here about Sananda in his surfer dude presentation. So if he decides to come back, he'll choose carefully how he should present himself out of respect for humankind, because we don't want to shock you or upset you, at least not at first, with our appearances. You'll get used to it. You'll learn to love us in our galactic form because you'll be seeing yourself in your own galactic form. And then nothing will seem strange to you. You'll just take it in stride. The way you understand that if you go to find a puppy to bring home with you, they're not all going to look alike, are they? There are the ones that are German Shepherds and they're the ones that are Chihuahuas. And you don't expect them to behave exactly the same or to look exactly the same, but they're lovely, loving beings, and they will make wonderful friends. Well, it's the same with us. We don't all look alike. Why should we? But we all love alike. We all come from the atmosphere of universal love. All of us that are coming to help you, that are coming to greet you, we all come from the same high vibration of love. And so there is never going to be any moment when you will need to feel fear, because as people are beginning to learn, we have to chuckle at this. It seems so obvious to us since we've been up here for 65 years or so in great numbers. We've been here a lot longer than that, of course, but in large numbers, and no galactic has ever tried to interfere with humankind. Now let's make a sidebar here. There have been government programs that originated from your planet that were designed to be frightening, to scare you into thinking that aliens were aliens and that you should fear them. But no, there is no member of the Galactic Federation that has ever in any way threatened humankind or tried to abduct you or take your DNA for experiments. Nonsense. None of us would do something like that. We have our own DNA. Why would we need yours? And of course, as you're learning, our technology is far advanced to what you have there on the planet, so we can do whatever we want, whatever we need. We provide for ourselves very nicely. So, let me tell you what we're up to. We are working together very closely with some of your wonderful boots on the ground, our dear friends and loved ones who are helping us to create the portals, the openings that we will need. Some of our ships, are thought forms. Our civilizations are very advanced. We can create a ship for ourselves by thinking it. This is what you're learning about manifesting. You will learn when you raise your vibration and come to be with us. You will learn how to create a ship for yourself. Yes, imagine it. Better than a Jaguar in your driveway, isn't it? And much more fun. We do have ships that are regular material creations. Those tend to have an easier time of it when they have to traverse the atmosphere of a planet. And the atmosphere on your planet in recent years, believe me, has been, a mess. It's been a mess. With all the dark thought forms being produced, it created tremendous waves of energy that were very difficult to traverse for some of our ships. So, recently you've been getting a lot of help. The lightworkers on the ground have been working nonstop to clear away the dark thought forms, and we have been given permission to help keep them away. And so my job has just gotten a whole lot easier. We are organizing, and of course with so many of us, we have to choreograph and map how we will make our entrance into your atmosphere and where we will land. So we're mapping in a way that will allow us to see which would be the best places for us to land safely. Our ships carry great energy, so we don't want to damage anything. We don't want to cause any panic or harm. So there's much to consider. It's far more complex than you might imagine. Well, picture this. You have 1 million ships under your command, and you have to land them all on the head of a pin. That is something like what it feels like the challenge we have ahead of us. We don't want to cause any damage or any danger either to our own crews or to anyone on the ground. So the challenge, of course, the first challenge was, how do we do this without creating mass panic? How do we do it without starting a war inadvertently? This is why we haven't been closer and haven't come sooner. There were just too many dark ones on the planet who were puffing out their chests and making threats to make it clear that if anyone from outside your atmosphere should try to approach, they would turn their Star Wars equipment on us and create a galactic war. Yes, we have been threatened, and we have responded by saying that would be completely unnecessary and nonsense and not advisable because, of course, our technology is far more advanced than yours, and it would be a very unfortunate thing. We don't attack, but for anyone on the planet to try to destroy us would be completely foolhardy because you would end up destroying your entire planet. And we certainly don't wish to see that. So this is why we've had to be so careful, why we've held off for so long, But you feel it now, don't you? You know things are changing. Look what's happened just today. Your President Obama in the U.S. has announced new relationships with Cuba. 50 years it's been that the United States gave Cuba a cold shoulder. Their beloved neighbors from the South, so close to the borders, those who would have been close friends and trading partners, a kind and very approachable people who have longed to have close ties with their families and friends who are now in the States and who want to go freely back and forth. It is a lovely, interesting country and will benefit tremendously from the opening of relations. It's what has been needed for so long. And what a wonderful thing to see. It is a beginning, you know. And also the cooperation between the United States and Iraq. It is brilliant. From having gone just a few years ago to bombing and trying to annihilate an entire country, to now helping to supervise their recovery and helping them to create a democratic government. It's brilliant. And it's happening around the globe. Now, when you're there in the U.S., you may not be feeling this so comfortably, but the new alignments that are taking place in the East, between Russia and China, for instance, this is not a dangerous, threatening thing for most of the world. It is dangerous for those who've tried to control the U.S. government. And it's unfortunate that the people of the United States will feel some chaos as a result of this. But the power of the dark ones must be dismantled. And it will cause some waves within the United States. But the rest of the world is aligning in such a way as to create stability. So you see, those of you in the United States who thought of yourselves as the leaders of the planet are going to have to take a back seat for a little bit. You'll be able to help out, of course. The lightworkers will all be tremendously helpful in this. I'm going to get to that in a moment. When you see the choppy waters around the globe, do not be alarmed. Do not panic. It's not a disaster, a complete devastation. Not at all. It's an adjustment. And you see the leaders around the world who are coming forward, who are taking a stand and creating alternative structures. They will stabilize the world economy. Right at the moment, you see them doing things that look completely crazy. But you will see the rise and fall of dollar, yuan, oil prices, and so on. It's going to stabilize in a different way. And you will see that the stability based in friendship is solid, is reliable. And this is what is forming now all across the planet. New alignments, new allies, new agreements of all kinds. Every day you'll be hearing of bank presidents retiring and new structures arising It may be that for the time those new structures are somewhere else. They may be in China. They may be in Brazil. But there is stability. And you, beloved ones, are going to be the backbone of that stability. The light workers are the ones who will manage this, who will carry through, who will carry the Western world. It's so important now that you take your place, shoulder to shoulder with us. You are the ones who will carry this through, who will mitigate the chaos, who will stabilize the feeling tone of your entire country. You can do it. There are enough of you now. Many more are awakening. Do not hesitate. Do not be afraid to share this with others. Tell them now. It is your job, your brilliant assignment, to carry the light. You have used that expression. You knew that's why you were here. To carry the light. To hold it high. To feel the love in your hearts. The joy of seeing this new world forming before your eyes. Do not be sucked into the worries and fears of those around you who think they're going to lose everything and we're all going to starve to death and it's all a terrible thing. No, it isn't. It's brilliant. It is a wondrous thing to see an entire planet renewing itself physically, politically, economically, and spiritually, all at once. And you, beloved ones, especially those of you who are going to feel the boat rocking in the coming days, do not fear. Do not allow your friends and neighbors to tell you how terrible things are. No. Tell them, this is joyful. So what if we have different names for our banks? So what if the enormous corporations lose their grip? Bravo! We'll create better organizations. We'll make our own bank. We'll grow our own food in a better way. We don't need a corporation to tell us what we should eat and how we should live. Not at all. We need some governance, yes. We have councils here in the higher dimensions. We meet with each other. We decide things together. You'll do that too. You'll call it by a different name, that's all. Instead of having the corporation of the United States, you'll have a free country where you can make your own decisions about how you think the actions of your country should be presented to the rest of the world. Your President Obama has made it clear that he is a peacemaker. Of course, he was embroiled in wars that were left over from others. Of course, he had to find a way to wind that down without crashing the economy or leaving people stranded. And it has been done. Look how few people even notice. Oh my goodness, remember that war we were having in Iraq? It's finished. I wonder when that happened. And whatever happened to Afghanistan? Oh, no more war? None of it has been trumpeted. Just quietly, you see peace breaking out everywhere. Who do you think's behind this? Who do you think the people are who've been pushing this along. Did it suddenly happen by some sort of accident? Of course not. We're all behind it, but there are those on the ground with you who have courageously and very anonymously created some wonderful things. Now you, all of you, raise your hearts, your vibration, your hopes, and your dreams. Envision it. Picture it with us and create it with us, just as you see happening now. So brilliantly, tremendous changes are happening. There's a small one that also was announced this afternoon that Kathryn was celebrating. New York has banned fracking. This, beloved ones, is a fabulous leap forward. These destructive practices that have been so painful to Mother Earth are being banned. And the fight to label GMO products, that was just a beginning. You don't need to label these things. You need to be done with them. Get rid of it entirely. It's all right that failed. It was a bad idea to begin with. In fact, it was an idea that was really backed by the GMO companies because they'd rather fight about whether they're going to label it than fight about whether it will exist at all. So you see, you're leaping right over the interim steps and going right to the finale. And this is happening everywhere. The things you thought needed to be done no longer even need to be done because you're leaping right past them into the real solution. You don't need to demonstrate for a law that will increase the minimum wage by 10 cents. You need to all be paid a decent wage. All of those interim steps will be bypassed now while you get to the real needs, the real celebration, the real resolutions. It is a glorious time. We are aligning in every sense of the word. We see ourselves sometimes as a great battalion, a troop of ships that will come to greet you. We can't wait to see your faces. Now, it won't be tomorrow, I'll tell you that. But we are preparing. And you see how fast things are happening now. Oh, you will be astonished at what happens now in every hour around the globe. Every day things are unfolding at lightning speed compared to what you were used to a week ago, a month ago. Everything is changing. I'm here to tell you, yes, we will be landing. And yes, you will be here to see it. Take care of yourselves. Improve your health. Create those brilliant relationships that you're learning about on these calls. And you will be ready for us when we land. And what a celebration it's going to be. Put your glad rags on, as they say, because we're coming. I am your Ashtar, and I can't wait to see you all. Salud. until we meet again.
Thank you, Ashtar. Beloved brother, thank you so much. Salute to you too.
He was feeling so happy.
Oh my gosh. And he was cracking us up too. He's talking about staying in his light body so he doesn't get in anyone's way. That's just comical to me. Oh, excuse me, Ashtar. Oh, excuse me, Ashtar. And all of us here we're in our human body, and we're going to be meeting our twin flames in their galactic bodies, and they're 15 feet, and all our heads went right to the ceiling. Oh my God. And you're blue or purple or green. Oh my God. Yes, beautiful images. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Oh, what wonderful messages. Preparing the landings, mapping out. I'm like, we live on a farm, Ashtar. There's nobody to see you here. We have a giant field where we can set up little runway lights. We just come on in. We'll have the wands in our hands. So everybody's thinking the same.
Oh, I saw him, it's so interesting. I don't always remember the words that they say, but they give me these images that are so graphic, and then they describe the images. But I saw Ashtar in his ship looking down at the planet and seeing first countries and, the topography. And then he'd zoom in to, like, a boardroom. Or I saw President Obama making an announcement. And I saw groups of people demonstrating with their signs and then putting the signs down and looking at the sun. It's like, oh, we're done. We don't have to demonstrate anymore. We got it. We got more than we asked for. So I kept seeing him pointing to these things around the planet. And it's so interesting because their view is global, of course, but they also have their pulse on international events. So they do focus a lot on us here because, we're the ones speaking English and presenting the program. But they also are so aware of everything else that's going on on the planet. So he wanted us to see that. His view of himself and the ships and all these galactic beings, and then all of us down here thinking we're going to see, everybody come off the ships dressed as princes and princesses. The women are all going to have tiaras, and they're all going to be wearing a lot of jewelry, and they're flowing robes. Maybe not.
Oh.
So he answered a lot of questions, I think. People have asked me things like, how come all the masters seem to be white? Well, that's just the artists that painted them that way. They don't really look like that, unless they choose to.
Yes. That was very interesting. We were all really perking in on that one. And thinking about, I liked how he described the bilocating and how he could, as a thought, and then he could concentrate himself as a thought form to be more focused if things needed a more full attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting the verbs he used and the way he used them. So he actually concentrated himself, as in collecting all the molecules and becoming more concentrated, but also that's how we talk about thoughts. You are concentrating. So the whole dynamic of being a body was blown out of the water. We are light bodies that can concentrate our light or disperse our light or bilocate the light based on what's needed and how much energy we need to put in a particular location for what we'd like to do. It was really interesting.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yes.
It was very, very interesting how he talked about it. And I thought about when I'm driving down the road and I'm trying to find a location and the window's down, the radio's on, and I roll up the windows and I turn the radio off so I can concentrate on what's needed. And it's sort of like that, like you're pulling away your different sensory kind of things. But to be able to focus yourself, think of how that could apply to how we're manifesting. And how they're telling us to, like you always tell us, laser beam focus. With visual centering, you have laser beam focus. And what that means to be able to see completely with laser beam focus and manifest and not be dispersed. There's probably 1,000 ways to take it.
Yeah, that's what he's asking us to do now. To create the light and hold it. And literally steady our part of the world.
Yes.
I saw that. I saw light workers all across the country and in other places around the world too, but focused on the U.S. and I saw the waves around our shores. Mm-hmm. And he was showing light workers holding the torch high and literally steadying everything. So things didn't get chaotic, didn't get confused. It was like we're going to mitigate the confusion and hold it like we're going to rock the baby.
And bolster. It's like because we know what's happening, even though we might not know how it rolls out, because you said that several times, it might look different and different things and where you are and who is in your life. But because we know that the end game is the golden era, we know that other side of this, that knowledge is almost our bolster. It's what can anchor all that changes. It's going to be fine. I know it looks crazy, but trust me, it's going to be fine. And even I think just the knowledge of us holding that and knowing it in our hearts of hearts, knowing and anchoring. I can see Christine saying anchor, the knowledge, right? So anchor in Mother Earth and root it down as in the United States. So root it in our pillar, grab the crystal core of Mother Earth and anchor.
And hold
that
steady.
Hold steady. And of course, as everybody else might be moving and waving around us, we can be that rock, that steadiness. Yeah.
And if everyone who's listening to this call and who hears it in the archives will agree to do this, we can just hold steady and ride out the storm. Because there's going to be a bit of a storm coming. So I hear that Ashtar is saying, okay, you are going to be the ones who will ride out the storm and show people how it's done and you will hold. Keep your hand on the helm, and you will steady the ship, and you'll come through the storm all right.
And
this
even
reminds
more. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It reminds me of why this work is important, to be able to be in command.
Yes.
Because if we've got a larger storm coming and we have all these small storms in our lives that we are becoming masters of, and we are rising above and becoming commanders of our own life, we will be able to do this on a larger scale. So it's sort of practice in your own mind, practice in your family, practice in your work, because they're getting us ready to anchor on this large scale where we can stay in command. So as we do these last days of clearing in our own world, we'll be even more ready for the national or international changes, and it's still not going to rock us. Just like Christine said, I don't care what happens. I see the point of choice, and I choose it. Mm-hmm. And that knowledge is that straightforward. I see these banks going nuts. I see corporations changing. Yes. And I'm steady and being in command. So thank you. This is wonderful practice for what's coming, and I see it all play out exactly as we need for what's coming. So grateful for the chance to practice this now for what's coming ahead.
And how brilliant. Look at the levels upon levels of symbolic meaning here. We just heard from the Supreme Commander of the Galactic Federation of Ships. He has a steady hand on the helm. And he's telling us, keep steady. Direct your ship, and keep your hand on the helm, keep your eye on the goal, and you will all ride this out together. It's brilliant. As we're talking, Meg, I had a flashback many years ago. The first time I ever heard a channeling. The person who was channeled said to me, Kathryn, there will come a time when this work that you're doing now will pay off because you will know what to do. When other people are confused and upset and don't know what's happening, you will know what to do. And here we are. We're talking with all the people who've done this work, and we're the ones who are going to know what to do. And that is build this billowing, sparkling, shining pillar of light that will protect all of us and will carry us through brilliantly.
Yes. Oh.
And I'm just getting this now from all of them. The time has come because there are finally enough of you to do this. We can do this with you because there are enough of you. And you're strong enough now. And you know what to do. Wow. Oh, I feel their tears of joy. They're telling us we can do it now. Because you know what to do. Well, yes, we do.
Yes.
We will hold the light like we never held it before.
Together.
Together. Yeah. So everyone on the call, check in with your friends. Do not be alone. Make sure you're part of this group and other groups, and that you're enjoying this and feeling the triumph and the, oh my gosh, thousands of years we've been on the march, and here we are at the finish line, and it's going to be a huge party. So we just have to turn this last corner, and we're home free.
Yes.
Yeah. So, hearts together, shoulder to shoulder. Here we go.
Thank you so much, Kathryn. What a lovely evening. Thank you for all, Ashtar, Lucifer, Sananda, all the callers. Thank you for your energy and for your open hearts for this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, we have a call. Peaceful Krieger, did you write that in? This is someone managed to get their name on there. Peaceful.
Yeah, they got their name on
there. Yeah. Well, before we end the call, let's talk to this person who just raised their hand.
Okay.
Hello.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Yes,
hi.
The name, I guess, is an old name. It's called Peaceful Krieger, and Krieger in Swedish is warrior.
Oh, hi. What's the name you go by now?
My real name's Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
but anyway, it's a pleasure to hear programs like this. Because a lot of times when you are thinking in the cosmic realms and thinking for the betterment of humanity, you feel very much alone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to feel that there's a network out there. I remember, I do nothing but study, but when I was teaching a Reiki class to nurses one time, I was doing some studying on what I'm going to present, and then I came across information that, like, light workers or cosmic thinkers or spiritual thinkers way back, let's say in the 40s or the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, they were out there, but they couldn't even fathom to get to the point that we can now, because actually their nervous systems couldn't handle the higher vibrations, and it was causing them physically a lot of problems. So I mean, they're really people that they're my heroes, that they were doing this even though it was wreaking or wrecking their bodies and destroying their nervous systems. But now, we've come a long way, and it seems like we are ready for, I know in Hawaii already they have an actual UFO landing space designated.
Oh, how great.
So I mean, they really have this already made, and they're ready for something to happen. And here in Cleveland, we're by the sweet waters of Lake Erie, or the Great Lakes.
I grew up there.
Yeah, and it's a great spot too. If you look. And I've also studied, I'm not Jewish, but I've studied the Torah, and in the hidden messages in the Torah, it mentions Ohio and near the Sweetwaters, that it's a good place. So I've designated my family business complex to be a UFO welcoming center for extraterrestrial and dimensional beings to come.
Great. Okay, Ashtar's taking notes.
I figured, what the heck? I'm going to really designate it to be something incredible. But no, I feel too that we're on the verge. We're like the pyramid, but without the top cap right now, because we have a lot of loose ends, and we really need some immediate communication on the way most people understand it in the three-dimensional. We need to have, if there's going to be the extraterrestrials, yeah, all right, you have some communications here and there. No, we really need it on a grand scale, so we have that top piece of the pyramid so people can unite and stop what they're doing, and it would be a big redirection in a big way across the globe.
You can feel it coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Otherwise, I've been goofy for years.
I mean, they're preparing us so that when this grand thing, whatever it's going to be, does happen, we're going to explain to people. We're going to be the ones who will say, "Oh yeah, it's fine."
But we need to be more. Right now, we're just like loose ends all over, and we need to be more organized. And one thing I was going to mention that I think maybe it's important to maybe that it would, when trying to, there's a way we can right now be in more than one place at one time to do energy work and to do light work. And I used to always teach this, and it's a simple thing. When people travel, like I had friends that would travel to the Middle East or to Russia or to Hungary, or even any place here in the United States. I was in Sweden for a while, and it's all about, you mentioned the word anchoring, and boy, is that a key word. Wherever any of us are, if you're in your kitchen in, let's say, Cleveland, or if you go to Florida, in Tampa, or if you go to Paris, France, wherever you happen to be, it's almost a responsibility of a light worker or an energy worker to put your feet on the ground and anchor yourself in that spot and pray.
Good.
And call for the energy to be in that space. If you're in Tampa, Florida, and that you're visiting there, anchor there intentionally. It's all about intention. Put your feet on the ground, anchor deep into the ground, and pray. And this way, then, when you get home, let's say when I got home to Cleveland, and I was in Stockholm, and I was in Paris, and I was in Arizona, wherever I was, and I anchored, then every time I pray, I'm praying in all those spaces at the same time.
Right.
So, I mean, it's another thing that we can develop our grid in our own lives, and then also mesh with others. So that's a way for us to all unite and communicate a little bit better.
That's
and
great.
I wanted to share that with your listeners. And
yeah, thank you, Cindy. You're breaking up a little bit, so
sorry.
I'll just recap a little bit and take your suggestion. So, Cindy, this is really good because, we have people on this call from all over the world. So it's perfect. Don't think of yourself as being only where you are. Where you are right now in the world, you're connecting with us. And if you say a prayer, if you say if you give the intention to raise your light and to anchor your light where you are right now, you can also reach out and extend your contact to us. And so we reach out to you, we connect our light, and we anchor where you are, where I am, where Meg is, where Cindy is, where everyone on the call is. And then you can intentionally also anchor with your mother, who is across the country, with your best friend, who is halfway around the world, and so on. And when we create a network like that, it is just unshakable. So thank you, Cindy. That was a great suggestion. And I'm sure everybody here is now thinking about all the places where they have loved ones and can anchor with that loved one in the place where their loved one is. So this is how we're going to stabilize everything that's coming. Wonderful idea. Thank you, Cindy. Okay, I'm going to close Cindy's line. And we have one other caller. I saved some extra time tonight, so let's open this other line and see who's at 940. Last four numbers are 566. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
We're great.
Don. Hello?
Who is it?
This is Don in North Texas. Yes.
Hi, Don. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling
Texas.
from North Central Texas. In Texas.
Okay. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. Hello to all you glorious, master, beautiful ladies. This is so joyous tonight. I've been under such stress for about a week. I help a friend, an older friend, in a nursing home. She's got circulation problems. We've been under stress, worried that she's going to have an amputation, but we found out today that she's healing. And then I come and yes, we've been doing lots of affirmations every day, and Kathryn, I did a reading. I had the reading done about 2 or 3 years ago of my Akashic record, and I was told that I was a soul that originated from Arcturus, and given my soul name, and I haven't been able to do anything but research everything you're about, and we're all about light work since that time. It's just I can't hardly do anything else. I guess I did too much.
When you find your roots, you have to live it, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Is it okay if I say my soul name?
Sure.
I was told my soul name is Mirakel, Mirakel.
Oh.
Every time I think about that, I think my vibration hit 2 or 3 levels higher.
That's great. That's wonderful. So, Mirakel, you are doing your Arcturian work with your friend.
I am.
You've been Arcturians are wonderful healers.
It's what I hear. I keep going to the ships with you many times. I hardly miss one.
So
and I'm doing my physical complaints have gone away.
Bravo.
I'm 66 years old, and I'm about the only person I know that doesn't have to take any kind of medicine and is healthy.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Well, we got
same with everybody on the call, right? I hear them all laughing. Yes. Right.
I do. Oh, I feel such communion with all of you. Thank you so much. I love every one of you from the bottom of my heart. And thanks for being there, all of you.
Oh, well, thank you, Miracal, Don. Oh, we have something scratchy on the line here. So
I hear it too.
yeah, I'm going to close your line and see if that helps. Thank you for calling. Wonderful.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah, I think that didn't help. Okay, well, fortunately, we managed to get through the call without too much interference, so good. Oh, there it ended. Well, that was interesting too, Don. Thank you. He's helped heal his friend who was in the hospital. What good news. It works.
Oh, very special. Yes.
Yeah, that was really nice to hear from him too. All right. Well, what a glorious, fabulous, fun time this was. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what tomorrow brings.
What a fun night. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Kathryn.
Oh, thank you, Meg, and everyone who joined in tonight. We love you.
We love you so much. Good night.